Azerbaijan and Armenia have a history of conflicts dating back for at least a century. The first war between the two occurred with the collapse of the Russian Empire in 1918, and the second one with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1988. The reasons include, first of all, the disagreements regarding the lands and the interpretation of the historical events. To complicate the situation even further, the region has always been an area for competition between various powers. This is Geography and Economics, and thank you for watching. The Karabakh itself is a region situated within the borders of Azerbaijan. During the Soviet era, the area was an autonomous region within the Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic, mostly inhabited by the ethnic Armenians. When the Iron Curtain started to show cracks in 1988, the region turned into a land of contest between the Azerbaijanis and the Armenian people. The tragic events such as the Hojali massacre soon followed. The primary reason of the conflict was, of course, the security concerns of both Armenia and Azerbaijan. When in 1921 both republics joined the Soviet Union, the leadership in Moscow made strategic changes of the borders between the two with the aim of playing off the Azerbaijani and Armenian people against each other. Thus, both nations would resort to Moscow for political support in resolving their issues. The Zangezur Mountains, which include the region between Azerbaijan and its exclave, Nakhchivan, provided the Azerbaijan Democratic Republic with an access to the exclave region, which is mostly populated by the ethnic Azerbaijanis. The Soviet government gave the part of the Zangezur between Azerbaijan and Nakhchivan to Armenia, which naturally created tensions between the two. Baku needed a guaranteed access to its region of Nakhchivan, and Armenia feared that Azerbaijan might want to take control over the Zangezur to provide itself with an access to Nakhchivan by force. The tensions were high. Both wanted to protect their borders. When the Soviet Union started to collapse in the late 80s, the government in Yerevan decided to occupy the Azerbaijani Karabakh in order to gain a strategic depth to protect its control over the Zangezur region. Azerbaijan wanted to protect its borders and guarantee its access to the Autonomous Republic of Nakhchivan. Confused yet? This is because Nakhchivan is required to be an autonomous republic within Azerbaijan according to the Kars and Moscow treaties, but more on that later. Currently, Azerbaijan insists that Armenia must end the occupation and retreat from the Karabakh enclave as well as the 7 regions surrounding it, which were mostly inhabited by the Azerbaijani people before the occupation forced them to flee the lands. While it is mainly a conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, it also involves the actors from outside. First of all, Russia and Turkey. While both Iran and the United States have their own interests in this region, Russia and Turkey are more actively involved in the conflict, and this is because of both security and economic interests of both powers in the Caucasus. The Derbent Passage on the border between Azerbaijan and Russia is an access point from the south to the North Caucasus, and just as the Daryal Passage in Georgia, the Derbent Passage bears a strategic importance for Moscow, because a foreign power in the region could use those passages in order to penetrate the Russian Caucasus and challenge the Russian authority there. Therefore, Russia needs to make sure that no foreign power has a substantial presence in the region. The mountainous terrain of the region prevents foreign powers from approaching the passages and the Russian territory. However, should a foreign power gain a substantial footprint in the region, it would be able to invade the Russian Caucasus through the passages mentioned above. From the American perspective, the region bears both a strategic and economic importance since it could prevent Russia from expanding into the Middle East. As for example, until the recent events, Azerbaijan provided Russia with an air access through its territory to engage in the military operations in the Middle East. Therefore, the United States could hope to limit the Russian ability to project power in the Middle East through Azerbaijan. Plus, Azerbaijani oil and natural gas reserves also bear a financial interest to the United States, although that being said, Washington's interest for the regional oil decreased with the shale revolution in the United States. Nevertheless, the US could still hope to profit from the Azeri oil and gas reserves. Turkey has been a strong supporter of Azerbaijan since the early 90s. It even threatened Armenia with war during the Karabakh Conflict and closed its border with Armenia, saying that it would open the border only in case if Armenia retreats from the occupied regions. Historically, the Caucasus always bared a strategic and economic importance for Turkey, as the Ottoman Empire attempted to conquer the region on several occasions. First of all, should a foreign power, most likely Russia, gain a substantial footprint in the region, it would be able to penetrate the Turkish Anatolia region, as for example happened in the War of 1877, when the Russians conquered the Kars and Batum and Ardahan regions of the Ottoman Empire. If the Russians would be able to establish a strong military presence in the Caucasus, they would threaten Turkish control over the eastern Anatolia. Partially for this reason, Turkey sent its troops to Azerbaijan for a military exercise during the recent border conflict in the Tovuz region between Armenia and Azerbaijan, when the Russians started the military exercises in both Armenia and the northern Caucasus. While the purpose of the military exercises is unclear, it could lead to a repetition of the 2008 events which happened in Georgia, this time in Azerbaijan, which could have brought substantial Russian military closer to the Turkish borders. Of course, Turkey has an economic interest at stake as well. In 2019, Turkey was importing as much as 21% of its natural gas from Azerbaijan. Therefore, a Russian intervention could threaten Turkey's access to the Azerbaijani oil and gas. Iran has been dominating the Caucasus for centuries, and now its interests involve protecting its northern border. Since Iran is controlling the South Azerbaijan region, which is inhabited by the ethnic Azerbaijanis, Iran views Azerbaijan as a threat to its border. Therefore, it supports neighboring Armenia against Azerbaijan. Besides, Iran also views foreign military presence in the region as a threat. The problem is, though, Iran lacks the resources necessary to challenge Russia's or Turkish influence in the region. It has to focus its resources on sustaining its arc of influence across the Middle East. The conflict between Azerbaijan and Armenia involves multiple parties around the world, including Russia, Turkey, the United States, and Iran. All of these powers have competing strategic and economic interests in the region. On a smaller scale, it is a result of the ethnic and geopolitical landscape of the region, which forces the two nations to fight each other in order to secure their national borders.